You finish a long planning session and feel exhausted but not closer to the goal. You have a beautiful roadmap, 3 prioritized lists, and an urgent itch to refine the plan again tomorrow. If this sounds familiar, you are not failing at planning. You are trapped in a specific behavioral loop where planning functions as a safe form of activity that delays the pain of starting. This video gives you a single coherent framework called Notice, Mini-Start, Commit that converts planning energy into immediate, reliable action. You will get the exact 60-second ritual, the science behind why it works, scripts to use, troubleshooting for common objections, and a short experiment that turns the routine into a habit in 2 weeks. Start by recognizing the pattern. Planning is adaptive. It reduces uncertainty, distributes cognitive load, and creates a mental model of the future. But planning becomes avoidance when it substitutes for the smallest initiation step. Initiation carries 2 kinds of cost: cognitive activation energy and the emotional risk of early imperfect work. Planning reduces the felt risk without producing the actual levered progress that changes reality. Your brain rewards perceived progress, and neat plans can trick it into thinking work is done. The Notice, Mini-Start, Commit framework is intentionally minimal. It creates a 60-second bridge that lowers activation energy and converts the safety of planning into the momentum of doing. Step 1, Notice, takes about 10 to 15 seconds. The goal is to collapse rumination by naming your own behavior and intention. Stand up or sit upright, close your eyes for 2 seconds, and say aloud the simple sentence, "I am planning to avoid starting." Use a neutral, factual tone. Do not add judgment. Neuroscience shows that affect labeling, or simply naming what we feel or do, reduces activity in subcortical threat centers and increases prefrontal influence. In plain language, the brain calms down enough to make a first choice rather than continue a loop of elaboration. This verbalization also interrupts automaticity. Your brain has been running the planning loop like a background app. Naming it foregrounds the process and makes choice possible. Step 2, Mini-Start, is the core, and it takes 20 to 30 seconds. The idea is to pick one microscopic movement that is the absolute smallest possible first step toward the project, and then perform it immediately. The microscopic movement must be concrete, physical, and undeniably a part of doing the task, not further planning. Examples: open the file and type the title. Create a new document and type one headline. Place your hand on the tool you will use. Move a physical prototype 10 centimeters closer to where you work. Set a 6-minute timer and place your fingers on the keyboard. The exact action you choose should be too small to argue with. Why physicality matters. Starting is not primarily a cognitive decision, it is a motor one. The basal ganglia favors sequences that have motor initiation. By forcing a motor initiation that is meaningful, you shift the whole system from appraisal to execution. Make the movement deliberate and brief. If the movement is typing one word, type it now. If it is opening the file, open it now. No hesitation. The objective is to create a tiny chunk of executed reality that your brain can interpret as progress. Step 3, Commit, takes the remaining 15 to 30 seconds. After the mini-start, make a single public or private micro-commitment that binds you to a short block of work. There are 3 high-impact variants you can choose depending on your environment: verbal, timed, or social. Verbal commitment is simply saying aloud, "I will work on this for 6 minutes now." Timed commitment is setting a visible timer for 6 or 12 minutes and pressing start. Social commitment is sending one-line message to an accountability partner. Starting now, 6 minutes on the first section. Each variant uses a different lever. Verbalization engages language networks and personal accountability. Timers create sharp boundaries that reduce perceived task size, and social messages increase follow-through by introducing an external expectation. Neuroscience and behavioral economics converge on this. Short, bounded commitments dramatically improve initiation because they reduce perceived future pain. Why 6 to 12 minutes? We want the block to be short enough to overcome dread but long enough to capture the onset of flow. Most people, once they cross the 6-minute threshold, continue for much longer. The entire Notice, Mini-Start, Commit sequence should take no more than 60 seconds, and it must be repeatable. Practice it once deliberately when you are calm, so the sensory and verbal elements are encoded as a single ritual. Now the practical scripts, so you can use this immediately. Script A for writers. 1. Notice, say aloud, "I am designing" instead of writing. 2. Mini-Start. Open your doc, type the headline. 3. Commit. Set timer 12 minutes. Say aloud, 12 minutes on first passage. Started. Script B for coders. 1. Notice, I am refactoring thoughts instead of producing code. 2. Mini Start. Open the file and write the first function signature. 3. Commit. Set timer 6 minutes. Push down keys. Started. Script C for creators. 1. Notice. I am planning thumbnails instead of filming. 2. Mini Start. Pick up the camera and point it at the subject for 5 seconds. 3. Commit. Record a 6-minute raw take. The key is specificity. Vague micro actions like think about the intro do not count. You must pick a movement that produces an artifact. How does this routine change the planning habit over time? 2 mechanisms. First, it creates behavioral friction for planning loops by inserting a highly attractive alternative that delivers immediate, tangible progress. Planning continues to be available, but the cost of remaining in planning increases relative to the low-cost start. Second, repetition builds what habit scientists call implementation intentions. If X, then do Y. If you repeatedly trigger notice, mini start, commit after planning, the cue planning will automatically unfold into the ritual rather than more planning. Use habit stacking to accelerate this. Attach the ritual to a natural anchor, like finishing your coffee, opening your laptop, or finishing a meeting. Expect early resistance. The first time you do the mini start, you will likely feel awkward and judge the action as too small. That is normal. The goal is not perfection. The goal is initiation. Over time, the brain values the initiation because it reliably yields progress. Troubleshooting common objections. Objection 1. I need more planning because the task is risky or complex. Response. Plan the risk mitigation, but still start a micro-action that is cohesive with mitigation. For example, after planning your experiment, run the first smallest subtest rather than planning subtests. Objection 2. I get distracted during the timer. Response. Use external capture. Keep a sticky note or a tiny later list and write the distraction down immediately, then return. Writing it down removes cognitive load and preserves the thought for later. Objection 3. I forgot the ritual. Response. Create a UX nudge, a small label on your monitor that says 60s to start, a browser bookmark titled Mini Start, or a physical token you move from planning tray to doing tray after planning. Advanced tweaks for teams and scale. If you lead a team that falls into planning loops, run a daily micro-start stand-up. After plans are discussed, each person states one micro-action they will begin in the next 12 minutes. Make it verbal and time-boxed. The public nature of the micro-commitment increases accountability and converts meeting energy into immediate execution. For recurring long-term projects, use a cadence of micro-initiations and weekly synthesis rather than daily elaborate plans. This preserves planning benefits while ensuring constant forward motion. How to measure success over 2 weeks. Run a simple experiment. Baseline week. Do usual planning and record count of micro-initiations in completed 12-minute blocks. Week 2, implement notice, mini start, commit every time you plan. Track 3 metrics. Initiation latency, time between planning end and first action, number of 12-minute blocks completed per day, and perceived progress on the project assessed daily on a 1-5 scale. Expect initiation latency to drop sharply in week 2 and perceived progress to increase. Visual metaphors and editing suggestions for the video. Start with a split screen. Left side, a person iterating on elaborate plans and getting no closer to the goal. Right side, a person performing a micro start and visibly moving a project into an active folder. Use a stopwatch overlay counting to 60 seconds as the ritual executes. Animate the micro artifact appearing. 1 typed word, 1 recorded second of audio, 1 moved prototype. Keep the visuals spare and kinetic so the viewer can mirror actions. Final mindset frame. This method does not devalue planning. It respects planning as a tool but refuses to let planning replace doing. The ritual reframes planning as a conditioning event. Planning primes, the ritual executes. In practice, you give yourself permission to start imperfect work, to generate a tiny piece of reality that the brain rewards, and to iterate from actual progress rather than hypothetical polish. Challenge for the next 2 weeks. Each time you catch yourself planning, run the 60-second ritual. Log each microstart and note how many minutes of focused work followed. If you want the 1-page cheat sheet with exact scripts and timer presets, like the video and subscribe. The downloadable will be pinned in the first comment. Now do it. Finish whatever plan you are holding. Say aloud, I am planning to avoid starting. Perform your chosen mini start for 5 seconds. Set a 6 or 12-minute timer and begin. After 1 block, note how different it feels to have created something tangible. That small difference compounds. Start once and the habit will begin to carry you forward.